Final hour overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line of the final score. We are an hour away from puck drop right here on TSN 1050. And just over an hour away from first pitch. Downtown's going to be wild, and I have to find a way to get down there in an hour from now. But Frankie Corrado's joined us in studio. That's not your concern, Frankie.
I feel for you, man.
Thank you.
Easy. Navigating the DVP.
Thank you for your concern.
I've always said this. There should be a helicopter service from somewhere in Vaughan or somewhere in that, North King or whatever. It takes you, you'll be down there in 7 minutes, drops you off somewhere on Bay, around there on the top of a building, and you walk down and away you go.
Oh, perfect.
Why do we not have that?
Why don't we have that?
That's a Vegas thing.
Yeah,
that's a
come
New York
on.
thing. We should have that.
It's a New York thing. It's a Vancouver thing.
Is it big in Vancouver?
No, it's a Vancouver thing.
Big in Vancouver.
How is it big in Vancouver?
Dude, there's cities where it's like an Uber. You go, you can Uber. Can you not, Noodles?
Well, in Vancouver, you can take a helicopter from Vancouver to Grouse Mountain, right around to Whistler to all of that.
What's that costing you, though? It's not. It can't be $58 when it's during
not $58
prime time.
No,
I
didn't say that it was cheap. I'm saying if you want to beat the clock, you want to be there for puck drop. That's the difference.
That would be incredible.
You got to put it in Vaughan because all the builders and all the builders' sons, they'll hop on that.
They've got a way of, is this a pure cash transaction?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
it is. That would be epic, man. If I got helicoptered in tonight for the game, man, that would be amazing.
Be like
right
Spider-Man.
Into Maple Leaf Square. Yeah, just drop me right into Maple Leaf Square.
There he is. That's Hazy B.
There he is in my suit, cruising into the rink tonight. Well, what are you expecting this evening, Frankie?
Dude, I have no idea what to expect right now. You talk to people in this market, and I'm getting both ends of the spectrum. I'm getting the guys that say it's over, seen this before, they're not going to do it, and I get the people that are truly optimistic that no, it's just a little blip. We're good. It's different. So I really don't know what to expect. I think you guys have talked about this all afternoon. Of course, Austin Matthews has to score. They're not going to beat the Florida Panthers by winning the depth battle. It's just, that's not, I would be shocked if that's what's available to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The other thing, if you go to games 1 and 2, did you guys not think the Leafs were a step faster than the Panthers in game 1 and 2? And now Florida's found a way to slow things down a little bit. And that obviously plays into their hand. But I think Toronto, they were good off the rush. They were making plays, and they made the Panthers look slow. And the Leafs are not the fastest team in the NHL by any stretch of the imagination. But in those 2 games, they look really fast. So, that'll be an early indicator, I think, as far as what kind of game we're going to get. But as of right now, I don't have a I don't think
there's
have
a crystal
a
ball out there, man.
No,
I'm with you, and I actually think that's probably a testament to the Leafs and the way that they've played through 10 playoff games. That I don't have a feeling it's going to go wrong for them. Right, which I think I have had at times in the past. I think it's a great opportunity. We've been expressing this for the past couple of days. You can't ask for anything better. You got a best 2 out of 3 against the Cup champs to knock them out, and you got home ice.
Yeah.
And yes, Stolarz is not healthy, but everyone else is. You got a full lineup.
And you got options because you might have guys coming in that might be able to help. Okay, you talk about having a feeling. Do you remember the year that Toronto lost to Tampa in the first round? What was that, 2022?
22, yes.
So they won Game 5. They lost Game 6. I had a feeling they were going to lose Game 7. That had a feel. It's man, if they didn't do it in 6, I can't see them winning a Game 7 based on their track record, their history, their inability to get it done. But I don't have that feeling yet. But, there are options for them today.
Well,
David Kampf could come in, Nick Robertson could come in. I mean, they're small things, but at least you're healthy and you're not hampered by, guys' inability to be out there.
That's the one thing where I was going to go, Frankie, is you talked about guys potentially coming in. And it's not, they aren't, and I'm trying to be respectful, they're not the biggest difference makers. They're a different look of a player. And give an example, Edmonton puts in Kapanen and puts in Stetcher. Just 2 players. Kapanen gets a look with Draisaitl. That's a pretty, good look to play with. He's not trugging along on a 4th line. Stetcher plays on a 3rd pairing. Different look, and they end up having success. I thought Kapanen looked really good. He didn't score, he didn't do anything, but he was a difference maker to help them. Could Nick Robertson come in and be a difference maker, even if he doesn't score? But maybe it's, you just talked about, maybe it's speed, maybe it's tenacity, maybe it's drawing a penalty.
Draw a
maybe
penalty,
it's,
yeah.
How about
something.
one shot with conviction past Sergei Bobrovsky? Like, at least that's Nick Robertson does that.
He can do that.
And-
yes, you're putting in a guy that has the ability to do that if he goes in tonight.
What do you guys think of this? Like, if David Kampf were to play, you obviously trust him killing penalties. Like, if he does anything, that's what he can do. Austin Matthews played almost 2.5 minutes shorthanded last game. Don't you think if Kampf comes in, you don't play Matthews as much, or even at all for that matter, shorthanded, and just say, save it for the 5-on-5 and the power play shifts. Want you to be really fresh for those, see if you can score.
Well, that would be deviating from, the way that Berube has coached, and his philosophies really have played out all year, though. I mean, that would be a significant change, because Berube has clearly looked at Matthews and said, you got to be a leader in every single area of this team, including penalty kills. And I honestly think, like, a kill is more important than 5-on-5 play, in my opinion, in the playoffs.
But you need him to score.
I understand that, but he should be able to do both. I think in a way that's letting him off the hook. Like, we got, like, what does that mean? 5-on-5. He's gonna double shifted 5-on-5. What if there's 6-7 penalties called tonight against you? You need him on the ice. There's a part of that too.
More fresh at 5-on-5, maybe.
That was always the stance from Sheldon Keefe.
Yeah,
was I want to save him for the shifts, particularly after a kill. Get him out there, take advantage of a fourth line for the opponents or whatever. I can reason with that philosophy, but I honestly think Berube is looking at this as more of a big picture. Like, this is an identity thing. You're a leader. You got to. Killing penalties are very important in the playoffs. You got to kill them. Well, and I think that's the way he looks at it. And I think he should be expected to do that and score goals. Because everything else he's doing well. Like, this isn't an effort issue. This isn't.
No, it's not.
You're making mental mistakes all over the ice. None of that has happened. He doesn't. I don't think he's got body language issues or anything. Like, I think everything Matthews has done across the board has been very, very positive and very good. It's very, very precise. Right. It's scoring goals that we're talking about here, which is, if anything, I would have figured it would have been the opposite. He's cheating for offense. He's getting his offense, but, man, defensively he's struggling.
He's not.
It's the opposite. But he's got to connect both worlds, man. You got to do it. That's why you're one of the best players in the world. That's who you are.
You know what? In the end, you can change that. You can score, and it silences the critics on one end. Ultimately, you'll take a win any way it gets delivered. Would it be nice if your top players deliver it? Absolutely, but it doesn't have to be your top players every night. And in a game like this, it's a game of inches, and it's a game of maybe one mistake here or there. A puck pops over a stick, or a breakaway, or a missed assignment. I don't know. I've got this feeling like I think somebody will win, like, decisively tonight. I don't know how you guys.
You see a 5-2 win either way?
Going away.
Well, it's been 1-goal games the whole time. Last game was, for the most part, a 1-goal game.
Yeah, it was.
Like, it's been, even game one where Bobrovsky was terrible, they come back. I know there's an injury and all of that. And I wanted to say, you said the Stolarz injury. Joseph Woll played 42 games this year. Like, he played more than Stolarz. Mm-hmm. And there were times on the show where we're like, yeah, it's Woll's net. Well, he's done a good job. So I don't think they're playing shorthanded or anything. They're playing different goaltender. Obviously, Stolarz handles the puck better.
And he was playing so well. Like, he was winning basically every game.
Yeah, I agree.
But yes, you're not dealing with.
It's not a massive drop off. That's my point. Like, you've got a really good goaltender in there. But in the end, like, we haven't seen a game where it hasn't been a nail biter.
Yeah,
really.
No, they've been four great games.
Listen, if Austin Matthews scores 2, then we might not be talking about a 1-goal game, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's something that just hasn't factored in, and the games have been close. Last game, Matthews had 7 shot attempts, 3 hit the net, 1 got blocked, and 3 missed the net. And I don't know about you guys, but I find, like, if you go back over the years of playoffs, I just have, like, memories of Matthews getting chances and hitting glass. Like the Montreal series, I think I remember it. The Boston series, I remember it. And, chances are not always plentiful, but I find in these moments, it's like maybe he's trying to just pick that perfect corner.
Yeah.
Because he's so good at it. We see him do it so often, and maybe we almost take it for granted. But it's like, I don't know. It's just something that's like banked in my memory. And then you look last game, and there it is, three missed nets. Like that's 7 shot attempts for Austin Matthews in a game. You got to think one of those is going in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or like a glorious chance, like where the goalie has to rob you type of thing. Like I thought Bob made a good glove save on the one where he was kind of alone on that back door. I think he double pumped it. He overthought it.
Yes, he
where
did.
Usually he kind of shoots it quick, right?
Well, and clearly the scouting report is like go high on Bob. But if you're thinking that, and I mean that may speak to why the miles per hour on his shot is down a little bit too. Like if you're trying to place it instead of blasting it, that can have an effect on the shot.
Yeah, it's not the old school just like close your eyes and shoot it. You know what I mean? Like that's such a grinder fourth line mentality. This guy's the best goal scorer in the world. He obviously knows what he's doing. He doesn't need us to tell him what to do.
How to shoot
That's
the
just
puck.
an observation that he just misses seems like he misses.
Well, he's leading the league in missed shots through these playoffs. I mean, again, I take that for what it's worth. But he's not alone. You look at Marner tonight. Like Mitch is not a guy that he hasn't supplied a lot of offense in games like this one tonight. Games 5, 6, and 7 throughout his career. The stats are everywhere. Everyone's seen them. They fall off a cliff for him. He hasn't generated much offense. He scored the game winner in Game 2. That was big. I think he's registered, one shot in the last 3 games. And I think it was the winner. So, and again, you don't look to him necessarily as a goal scorer, but I think it was you saying this yesterday, Noodles, maybe Jonas. He scored 30 goals this year.
Yeah.
Like if you score 30, you're a goal scorer in the league.
Oh, he's a 30 goal scorer.
Yes.
Like he can score 30 basically every year, I think.
Exactly.
He has that ability.
That's a guy that needs to be expected to score as well. Not to the same extent as Matthews, but not far behind him. Like the pecking order's Austin, Willie, Mitch in terms of who's going to score. Maybe you throw Tavares in there.
Yeah.
But it's not Steven Lorentz and Mitch Marner on the same level.
I mean, the thing is you need scoring, but you also need to keep the puck out of your net too. Like that's the biggest challenge too is – as much as we're talking about Matthews and that, I guarantee you, I mean, the OverDrive of Florida is going, where's Tkachuk? Has Tkachuk had a statement game yet?
He hasn't scored in the series. He hasn't scored since Game 3 of the Tampa series.
And he clearly looks hurt. I thought he played better last game. I actually thought last game he was noticeable. Not just because he had the pass on the back door in the power play. He actually looked like he was getting to areas on the ice where he couldn't get to in the previous games. But, that's the challenge too, is we're all talking about offense. Defense wins, man. Like you've got to keep it out of your own net. Like that's the beauty of this. It's going to come back to discipline too. I hope the refs, I don't know who's reffing tonight, but I hope we're not talking about poor calls. Well, just let them play tonight.
Well, I mean, the Toronto penalties in the first period of last game, they're kind of all, you have to make those calls, don't you think?
Get it.
Like the high stick, the hook, even the boarding,
the
puck
boarding,
the puck over
that's
glass.
Dumb play by him, though. Like, to me, you got to read the game. I know you're aggressive and want to finish your check, but it's clear right now, regardless if a guy turns or not, you've got to be in control of your body because we have seen some hits from behind. That whether a guy's done it to himself or he's put himself in that position or the player that's hitting him is a little overzealous and maybe wired up and goes, I'm just going to go through the numbers here. And you've got to be in like that was a dangerous zone hit. It was a couple feet off the boards.
Well, and
you know what?
Rodriguez isn't playing tonight.
Yeah. You know what though? Like if it always sounds so barbaric to say this type of stuff, but the guys on the bench would be thinking, if you're going to take that penalty, we can kind of kill that one off. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to run a guy through the boards, it's like that gray area for sure. We're not supposed to talk about it, but like those are the ones the guys will be like, you take a pound of flesh, we'll kill that one off. The high stick, the hook, that's the stuff that you get into trouble,
200 feet away from your net, like that's the one on the offensive, like when you're forechecking and you hook a guy in their hands 200 feet away from you. Like, if you're going to take a penalty, what you're saying, Frankie, is make the guy pay for it a little bit. You're going to take a slashing penalty, hit him in the somewhere where it's not padded.
Right.
Take a little chunk of it type of thing.
For
Yeah,
sure.
it's completely barbaric, but I mean that's
the
what everyone's
nature of the
thinking.
sport, man.
Like, it's what everyone's thinking on the bench. Like the Marner thing, since we brought up Marner, it almost has sometimes a feel in these moments where it's like Marner defers to being the playmaker. Marner can be the goal scorer. Like, he doesn't always have to look for Matthews. And the thing, it's funny because the two can go hand in hand. Matthews isn't scoring, so Mitch might feel like, oh, I got to get it to him. I got to get it to him because he's got to score. Meanwhile, it's like you can do it yourself too in certain situations, right? You don't always have to just force feed everything to him.
Right.
Well,
That's
he's
true.
more than capable of doing it. You look back game one against Ottawa where he broke loose. Matthews was the playmaker.
Yeah.
He made a beautiful pass. Mitch scores. It's 2-0. The building's going crazy. There's opportunities to break loose. They've had breakaways every single game. It's about capitalizing on them and who's the one with the puck on his stick. Frankie Corrado with us in studio. Do you think any of the teams that are currently down 3-1, because the other series, they're starting to run away. I mean, Winnipeg's down 3-1, Washington down 3-1, Vegas down 3-1. Any of them you think have the capability of pushing it to 7? Not necessarily winning the series, but winning the next 2 games to stay alive.
I mean, I think the Jets one is tough because they have such a hard time on the road.
Yeah, they might win Game 5 handily.
So, and then so they win Game 5 at home. Sure. Then you go back into Dallas, your goaltender hasn't played particularly well on the road as a team. Like, they haven't had much success there. So that one seems hard. I think if Aiden Hill can put it together for a couple games, then they would have a chance. But then, did I not read today that Mark Stone is out?
Yeah,
So
He's banged
that's
up all
not
the
going to
time.
help them. And Edmonton, Edmonton's the best version of themselves right now because they're getting it from everyone. They can have the Henrique game, they can have the Connor Brown game, and they're playing well as a team. And the other one, I think the Carolina Washington, there's no room for Washington. There's no room.
Isn't that a weird series? Like, isn't it weird games to watch?
They
Like,
are
it's-
weird games to watch. And you know what is interesting? If you guys have watched Spencer Carberry, whether it's like in the morning or after games, not a lot of coaches talk about puck touches in their post-game availability. But he says it a lot. And even sometimes if they go in the dressing room, his 45-second to minute speech before, let's make sure our puck touches are clean, puck touches. It's like, puck touches aren't available to you against Carolina. Like, you're not going to be clean in those situations as much. And I feel like they're a team that values possession and making nice plays. Like, credit to Carolina, they've suffocated that out of their game. It feels like
it's impressive. Like, especially we talked a lot about Washington, how big they are. And what they did to Montreal, they just kind of bullied Montreal around, and they got in on the forecheck, and they made them uncomfortable, and they forced their defense into mistakes, and then all hell was breaking loose. Carolina just doesn't allow for that to happen. The way they defend, the way they transition out of the zone, they got big veteran defensemen. They're like, come get some. You want a piece? Come get it.
In years past, Carolina has missed like that one offensive guy that really goes off, and this year Svechnikov is all of a sudden going off, where he's got a goal and one less goal than games played for him. Can't remember the numbers, but they've
only played 9.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's got 8 goals, I guess. Svechnikov is kind of doing that right now.
Yeah.
So it's a little different there as well.
And Taylor Hall found one the other night. Like, you forget that Taylor Hall's there. You forget
with a contract extension,
but
2
he's
weeks
played
ago.
Well there. He's played well there. Like, they're a team that isn't as sexy, but they're really well rounded. That's the biggest thing.
So to answer your question, a long-winded way of saying I don't believe any of those series will go 7 based on where they're at now. 3-1's tough, man.
Yeah, it really is. It's a big hill to climb, man. Like, you need your goalie. You need your goalie to be the best player at that point.
Yeah.
Like, ultimately, because you can't allow bad breaks. You can't give up. You can't recover from anything, and you know it mentally. Like, your back is up against the wall.
Yeah.
So
if I had to hedge, the best chance would be Winnipeg out of those 3. But I mean, then you're saying Jake Ottinger is going to have to play poorly for 3 games.
Although
that's just not really in the
The
cards.
flip side of that is in Edmonton, like if Skinner tonight, after a very good game, goes, you know what, I'm going to revert back to the old game 1 and game 2 LA Stu Skinner,
Yeah.
then all bets are off because Pickard, it doesn't sound as if he's available anytime soon.
It sounded like he's a week. So I don't know, that puts you into next week type of thing.
That's
so
the
you're
third
right, that's a
round,
couple
probably.
games.
Yeah, you might be
Yeah,
looking
it's-
at the conference final at that point.
Yeah.
That'll be a wild story, though. Like if and when they get there, and if they can sit tight for a bit and get them some time, but Skinner closes the deal tonight and plays well,
then I think it's Skinner's net.
you think they just
Really?
stay with Skinner?
You think they'll stay with Skinner? Just give him the benefit of the doubt? It was a little blip?
I don't think it's the benefit of the doubt. I think it's, hey, we need 2 goaltenders to get this done.
Sure.
And it's Skinner with, like, now you look at it as a tandem instead of a starter and a backup. That's the way I would look at it. But again, you got to, Skinner's got to close the deal out and then give Pickard time to get healthy. And then you look at it and go, okay, let's see how this unfolds. We can have 2 goalies that we trust. Keep in mind, like Calvin Pickard doesn't have a long history of playing deep in the playoffs or starting or any of these types of things. A lot like Anthony Stolarz, a lot like Joseph Woll. They're just still going through the process right now. Yeah, Pickard's 6-0, but what if a week off, his mojo kind of is a little messed with. Now he's not in a groove.
Yeah.
Now you got to chase your game a little bit. So I think if Skinner can finish this series off for them, I do think he gets his net back with a very short leash. That's what I would think.
It's like we get into the conference final. Let's say you play Dallas, you lose game 1, it's Pickard back in. Like it can't be a 2-game thing.
I think it's a tandem situation, and you go with who you feel can get to their game. But we'll see. I mean, yes, it's no Mark Stone, but they're all teams are playing banged up a little bit. Like you can't tell me Chris Tanev's not banged up.
Man, the guy's been hit more than anybody else in the league by a mile.
And
no one's even close.
And he's a guy that is an absolute warrior. But there was one hit where I thought he wasn't coming back. Like he's had shoulder issues and stuff, and I thought he got hit really hard.
Yeah.
But he's out there.
He's a
plays,
warrior, man.
Well, that is the amazing thing. Like there's no discussion of them changing up their defense or the pairings for that matter.
Okay.
Like nor should they, but I'm just saying, like we're 10 games into the playoffs, and in past years someone was coming in or coming out, or it was all right, you got to flip this pairing, or someone's got to play with somebody else. Like that is something that he has not deviated from, nor should he again. But you got McCabe and Tanev, you're going to have Carlo and Riley, and you're going to have Benoit and Ekman Larson. And that's the way it's going to go, and they're all going to play about the same minutes.
Oh, that's a credit to Tree Living and
what
the
he's
fact
built.
that they've built this decor now this year. It's the best version that they've had over the 9 years.
And that's what gives me confidence for them, tonight in this mini 2 out of 3 series. Yes, a lot of focus on Matthews and Marner and Willie and all those guys, and that's natural. But if Wall can play well / very good, I trust the way they defend. I trust their defense. I trust the size. I trust the way that they've had the ability to push pucks outside, block shots, defend, hit, be physical. That's got to continue, but it's going to be challenging for Florida, man. We've laid it out on what the Leafs have to do. The Panthers have to deal with the same thing. Like they got to break through.
Let me ask you something. Do you think Austin Matthews scores before you get into the building tonight?
I'm going to say no, but he's got about 7 or 8 minutes of game action to do it.
Yeah.
Because against Ottawa, Game 6, again, every game's different, but remember, he scored. Not only did he score, he scored on the power play, and there were a lot of issues with the power play in the previous few games. Power play goal, Matthews checks a lot of boxes.
Ding,
check. Play with the lead, which, again, is incredibly important. You got to get Game 5 tonight, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's a must-win, I think, for the
If they win Game 5 and Austin Matthews does not score, I will be flabbergasted.
Yeah.
I will. I'll be shocked.
I would apply that to one of him or Marner.
Sure.
Like one of them has to score a goal tonight for them to win the game. I would agree with that. I don't see 1-0. Joseph Woll stands on his head. Jake McCabe sneaks one in.
1-0, 2-1, where like Pontus Holmberg and Domi score, and like you hold off the Cats to like a Lundell goal. I don't know. No. I don't know if that's in the cards.
Seems like a 4-2 win. Matthews has one, Marner has one, and Nye scores an empty netter to close it. All right. Well, we started without a feeling of how it's going to play out. I think we just landed
We
on
talked ourselves into
Talked
it. didn't we?
ourselves into exactly how it's going to play. You don't even have to watch tonight.
Yeah.
Just listen on TSN Radio. Leafs Panthers Game 5. All right, Frankie, we'll catch you on the panel tonight.
Hey, boys, enjoy the game.
You got it. There's Frankie Corrado, our TSN hockey analyst. Mark Masters from the rink, and our best bet still to come. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, we'll get to our best bets powered by FanDuel a little bit later in the hour. You got the Leafs in action tonight. You got the Blue Jays in action tonight. You got NBA playoffs. You got the PGA starting tomorrow. Coverage of the PGA Championship on Overdrive brought to you by Subaru. We made our picks earlier, all over the map. O's taking 3 guys at a time. Then he wants to trade.
I couldn't keep track.
It's
It was
impossible
all hell
to.
was
I'm
breaking
involved, and I don't know what just happened. Like
Yeah.
I know I've got Scheffler, I've got Thomas, I've got Connors, and we'll figure out the rest. But it's obviously a great field. Quail Hollow's getting torched by some of the competitors in terms of how they're speaking of it. But it's a beautiful course, beautiful-looking course. It'll be a great crowd. Again, coverage of the PGA Championship on Overdrive. Brought to you by Subaru. Hurry to the all-in-one event for great offers and experience all the features that come standard in a Subaru. Get to our best bets later in the hour. But we're about a half an hour away from puck drop. Let's head down to the rink. Here's Mark Masters, our TSN Maple Leaf reporter. Kind of atmosphere are you expecting tonight, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, a great one. Similar to games 1 and 2. I think, obviously it's incumbent on the Leafs to get off to a good start tonight to try and capitalize on that, because it's one of those games where if they don't look good off the hop, you can certainly imagine it getting a little tense and nervous around here. So obviously it's going to be great to start this game, and let's see where it goes from there.
Masters, any roster changes you anticipate?
Yeah, we're expecting David Kampf and Mick Robertson to come in. It sounds like Holmberg and Yardcroak would be the odd men out. Warm-up's about to start, so we'll get final confirmation on that shortly. But that's what we're expecting from the Leafs side. And then on the Florida side, we already know Evan Rodriguez is out. Jesper Boqvist draws in for them tonight.
So if that is the case, like Yarncroke has been playing on the right side, kills some penalties, but if Holmberg comes out, he'll play center, he'll play the wing. Like Camp is predominantly a centerman. Do you see what happens here? Does Lawton stay in the middle of the ice? Does Domi stay in the middle of the ice? What do you think they're going to do if Camp goes in?
Yeah, I think Camp would go in the middle because that's where we've seen him consistently. Lawton goes out to the left wing maybe, and Lorenz goes to the right side there maybe. And then, you see Domi between Bobby McMahon and Nick Robertson, and that line has been really good, at times for the Leafs. At least it gives that line an identity, a chance to, be a very offensively dangerous line. And obviously with the last change advantage at home, Craig Berube can make sure that they're, as much as he can, that they're not caught in tough situations and kind of shelter that group as much as possible.
Mark, you're around the team a lot. What was the mood this morning? I know it's optional, but, did you get a sense from the guys' calmness or a little bit of nerves, or what did you make?
Yeah, I think pretty calm, all things considered. I think they're in a good space. 2 days off probably helped them a little bit more than if it had just been bing, bang, boom coming off of the long travel day from Florida. So, yeah, I liked it. We heard from John Tavares. We heard from Jake McCabe this morning. Craig Berube is always pretty much the same. So it seems like they're in the right frame of mind, to use Berube's words, heading into this really, really important game, to say the least.
In terms of focusing more on two players that we've talked about a lot the last couple of days, that would be Matthews and Marner. Noodles asked about the whole team and the way that they're feeling. How would you define the general mood, attitude, approach to what is a massive game tonight for Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews in particular?
Yeah, Matthews is harder to read at times, but what we know is that he acknowledged that he's feeling snake-bitten, that he needs to bear down more on his chances. That's about as good as it gets with Austin Matthews, to let you know where he's at. Like, he's acknowledging that, he's got to do a little bit more. And Mitch Marner yesterday asked him about his game, and he gave a one-word answer, which was fine. And then I followed up and just said, what can you do to get some more shots? 2 games without a shot. And he went into just talking about how he's oftentimes looking to shoot for six. And, the Panthers have done a good job blocking shots. I think that you've seen from Matthews, an understanding that there's more there. And from Marner, I think deep down he knows that there's another level. And it'll be intriguing because, they won the matchup against Alexander Barkov's line at home in the first two games of the series. Of course, Marner scored the game winner in Game 2 and set up the game winner in Game 1 by Matthew Nyes on that breakaway. And then they go to Florida, and you think, suddenly they're playing the Anton Lundell line, and you think it might be easier, but it wasn't the case. So it goes back to Barkov tonight. For whatever reason, that's helped the Leafs. And we'll see if going up against the pair of Selke Trophy nominees and Barkov and Reinhart can help Matthews and Marner elevate in this one.
Joseph Woll has spoken pretty much every day. What do you make of his demeanor? And really, there's a lot of pressure on him to help try and deliver a huge win here on home ice.
I mean, that was such an important performance for him in Game 4, just to bounce back after a leaky one in Game 3. Obviously, his mom was in the building, siblings, really special in Game 4, even without the win, to perform well in that moment and just get back on track, get his confidence kind of going here. Again, just like Stolarz, he's not used to all these games in a row, high leverage, pressure games in a row, fifth straight, game here tonight, fourth straight start. He hasn't done that since Stolarz was out with the injury early in the year. So there's a lot being asked of him. I thought he responded well. I thought he was really relaxed in his media session yesterday, talking about how it's good to be nervous. A little bit of fear is a good thing. It means you care. It means that you're playing for something big. So I think he's in a good spot, and hopefully, if you're the Leafs, he can build on what he did in Game 4, because that was the biggest positive.
With Mark Masters, Leafs Panthers Game 5 right here on TSN Radio. It sounds as if Kampf and Robertson are out there for warmups, and Holmberg and Yarncroke are not. So there's our answer. Those two going in, those two coming out. This we keep talking about big moments, legacy moments, and how this is exciting. This is a great opportunity for all these players. It's a big moment for Craig Berube as well. His coaching career, he's obviously got the cup. He's done a great job this year. They won the division. That rarely happens with this team. He's compared to the likes of Pat Quinn and Pat Burns and others. In terms of his demeanor, his approach, are you surprised at all that he decided to change the lineup? And if so, how much more change might you expect? Do you think it could lead to Matthews and Marner being split up at times? Could Nylander get shifts with different lines? What would you expect to see out of Craig Berube this evening?
Well, that's the question, is if it doesn't start well here, does he, we saw a couple of shifts where Matthews and Marner were split up down in Florida at the start of the third period in Game 4. And the question is, if things don't start well, when does he do that, right? He's got to get these guys going. And he's had he's pushed the right buttons for most of this season. He's kept everyone calm. He's kind of found a way to make jokes, make light of things when, he's asked about William Nylander, and he'll quickly say, this guy doesn't listen to me. He's not listening to anything. I leave him alone. So he seems to have a good pulse of things. And I'm with you. Like, this might be their best shot right now for Craig Berube. It's your first year. The message is fresh. If you win this series, you're the favorite in the Eastern Final. It's all kind of laid out there if you can push the right buttons down the stretch in this series. Again, these are moments where this is why he was brought in.
When you talk, we always talk about the top four. Is there anybody that you would circle that I would say unsuspecting that you would want to see a big game out of? And, is that Bobby McMann? Is it somebody like that? Is it Max Domi?
Need something out of the bottom six, anyone to step up. I mean, again, I mentioned Domi, McMahon, Robertson, that line. It's been good. It's been good at times offensively, especially. Can Robertson, who's scored in 3 different games where he's come off a healthy scratch, do it again? Can McMahon snap this crazy 21-game drought without a goal for a 20-goal score? That's, it was interesting. He didn't skate this morning. He almost always skates, so I wonder if he's trying to change something there, trying to just change his luck in some way. He's got to be in his head so much. Remember, he's the only playoff rookie on this team, and it hasn't been an easy transition. So if they could just get something out of the bottom six, anything, anyone, a Scott Laughton moment, a Stephen Lorentz moment, something, David Kampf, his first game since April 2nd, if they can just get something from the bottom six, it will go such a long way to alleviating the pressure. So obviously you can talk about the big boys, and they got to produce, but if they can just get something, because the Anton Lundell line, Brad Marchand, they're going to be coming tonight. They were really good in Toronto in the first 2 games, and the Leafs they need something out of their bottom six.
Yep, that's exactly it. Well, we're going to find out. Puck drop in about a half an hour. I'll see you down there, Mark. Save my seat, please. Save my seat. I'm on my way down.
It doesn't even say your name; it just says reserve. So it's, I like that.
Okay.
Like, who's reserved? The photojournalists kind of want to get there. I'm like, no. We need this seat. I'm saving it for you.
Thank you. Put your jacket up. Do something. Have Jonas sit there for a while. Do something, please. I'm on my way.
We will protect it. We have it ready for you when you get here. Hey.
Thank you, Masters. Appreciate it. We'll see you tonight. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah. See you guys.
There he is, Mark Masters. Yeah, I don't even get a play card down there. Like no name, no nothing, just reserved.
Well, they're not sure if you're coming or
I
not
know,
sometimes.
and that's a big part of it. I understand that, but
what about
come
pizza or ice cream tonight?
Well, this is what's concerning, man. I've been eating so much pizza lately.
Have you?
It's just one of those things. Like whenever I'm down at the rink, we've been out a lot. There's been a lot of kind of on the go stuff.
It's easy though.
That's what it is. It's easy. It's convenient. It's right there. It's very seductive.
Yes.
Right. If you have a growl on and there's a pizza staring at you, it's impossible to fight that off.
Agreed.
So there's a very good chance my expected slice per game is like through the roof, and I think that's going to probably happen again tonight. I haven't hit the ice cream once. Ever.
Really?
Yeah, I've been going down there for a long time. I've never opened that fridge. I might take a look tonight.
My dab. Oh, the tap man usually has a fort built.
Oh, he'll have 15 on reserve waiting for him. My fear is I get after it and there's like a spill. Yeah. Even with pizza, that can apply too, right? You get a bad pizza spill, you're toast.
It's not going. Yeah,
it's
you
not good.
Be careful with that.
It's not good.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back. Mike Kelly, our good friend Mike Kelly from Sports Logic, he just tweeted out something very interesting in terms of Austin Matthews. The amount of goals he scores, the expected goals, the differential, regular season compared to the playoffs. We'll touch on that. We'll get to our best bets, and we'll tee up the game one more time before we turn it over to Joe Bowen and Jimmy Ralph with the call tonight in just over 20 minutes. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, best bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm going to take the Leafs on the puck line tonight. I think it's a close game. I could see a game. I think the Leafs are going to win. I have that feeling tonight. But I think if it doesn't happen for them, I think they show up and play. I think it's a good game, a close game. All these games have been good, close games. Leafs puck line. Austin Matthews scores a goal tonight. Mitch Marner to register a point tonight. That parlay paying plus 31. So it's a very positive, leafy parlay, but that's where I'm at going into Game 5. And Matthews and his goal scoring, has been a topic of discussion a lot in the playoffs, and I think it's completely justified. I don't think it's being overblown to any extent because of who he is and what he's capable of doing. Right? The guy wins rocket after rocket after rocket. He had 69 goals a year ago. Everything else is great. It's not about everything else. It's not about winning shifts. No one's taking that away from him, myself included. It's that, okay, you've got no goals left in the series, or yet in the series. You didn't score against Florida 2 years ago. You got to find a way to break through here. And Mike Kelly of Sports Logic tweeted this out, that in the regular season, Austin Matthews has 401 career goals. His expected goals are 318.7. So in other words, he has a plus 82.3 goal differential. He has scored more goals than what the analytics would suggest were expected goals. Right. And expected goals are based on, data, historical data of players in a similar situation, the likelihood of them scoring in that scenario, where they are on the ice, all that kind of stuff. There's a number of details that go into it.
Right.
In the playoffs, he's got 25 total playoff goals. He has created 28.7 expected goals. That is a minus 3.7 goal differential. Right. So, he scores at a ridiculous rate and creates at a ridiculous rate, even above and beyond what you would think he would in the regular season, and it's the opposite in the playoffs. So,
and you could also factor in, expected goals. He's above it massively in the regular season, which is, you can also go, the goaltender didn't allow a great goal. Remember, he throws some ones from the goal line and it goes in. That would hurt the goaltender's number, but not his. That wouldn't be an expected goal, but he scores. In the playoffs, he hasn't had the puck luck as well, right? It's minus 3.7.
Yeah.
He should actually have 29 goals. We'll call it round up. He's only got 25. So, maybe he hits a post and it stays out, misses the net on a play, or the goaltender robs him and makes a great save. It's, the numbers are quite telling, but you could tie it to a lot of different factors. And
For sure. In the playoffs, it's more difficult. It's tighter. The goal, you're playing a number one goalie who's on rest, who's ready to play. There's no scheduled losses or anything like that.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be difficult in the playoffs. It's more difficult in the playoffs. That is understood, and that goes without saying. But this is it, man. I have said it so many times over the last 2 or 3 days. I'm excited for the game tonight. I think everybody's excited. I think there's going to be nervous energy for sure. But this is what athletes, they always say they dream of, right? This isn't Game 7 of the Cup final. It's not to that extreme. But you got a best 2 out of 3 against a very formidable opponent. You're on home ice for 2 of them. This is all you can ask for. You know, it's Rory McIlroy going back to 18 to play the playoff. Like, this is, if I had told you before the season started, you're tied 2-2, best 2 out of 3, second round against Florida, you're taking that every single day of the week.
Well, sure.
Right?
I mean,
so go out and own it. You got to go own it. And this is a game that no one's going to forget, positively or negatively. Game 5 against the Panthers will be referenced in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. It's a big game, and it's going to be even bigger on Friday, possibly even bigger on Sunday if it gets there. But you got to cross this bridge first. Game 5 tonight.
Yeah, it's
Can't wait for this game. It's going to be a great game tonight.
It's exciting, and you know what? We'll see how it starts, see how the atmosphere in the building is, see if there's a response from some of the players who didn't have great games. See what the goaltenders look like.
Camp going in, right? Camp and Robertson going in.
Yep, some lineup changes, some lineup tweaks. Rodriguez out.
Yep.
That's he's a
good player.
He hasn't been he's a very good player. He hasn't been a huge factor in the series so far. He's actually taken some massive blows.
Big hits.
They're probably like, you got to shut this down. You know what I mean? He got an embellishment for getting hit from behind.
Yeah.
And he had to leave the game there for a bit. And then last game,
Ekman Larson buried him.
Yeah,
that was a dangerous hit. That was interference.
That was
that was interference.
Yeah, you go there like that was pretty, and it's a former teammate too. Like that's the other thing. He's like and he did bury him, and it was kind of it was a gray area hit. I mean,
the puck wasn't there. I mean, they called 5 and then rescinded it, which I think was right because he didn't get his head or anything like that.
No.
But that was a classic interference. There's no disputing that.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that one.
All right. Wish me luck on the way down. I can't
luck.
wait to get down there. It's going to be a blast. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out today. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, we appreciate that. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.